Hey everybody, it's Norm from Tested.
And it's Jeremy from Tested.
Welcome back to Projections. It's been a few weeks.
It has been a little bit.
But we are back with more coverage of VR and AR. We did an interesting experience just this past week.
Yes, I guess this qualifies for VR.
I think so. They're calling it VR, but it was indoor skydiving.
So this is a company called iFly. They have how many branches around the country?
Dozens.
Well, they were a part of a beta program. So they were one of the 4 of the branches that actually got this. And now they've rolled it out. They finished the beta program, they've rolled it out, and you can now go into what is essentially indoor skydiving, a vertical wind tunnel, while wearing basically a mobile VR headset.
A 3-degree of freedom, in this case, Gear VR, with a smartphone attached to it to watch a video of what it's like to drop from 13,000 feet.
So we got a chance, we'd never done anything like this before, so we had a chance to jump into the chamber without the headset first, and we got oriented, did about a minute each, and then maybe a second time we got in there, and then by the 3rd flight, that's when they put on the VR helmet. It's an entire helmet, and it's got the goggles kind of built into it.
Before we even walked into the room, we had no idea what this was going to be like. This is a location-based virtual reality, I will use quotes,
right,
experience, much in a way that those roller coasters, many amusement parks have now integrated VR headsets with their roller coaster rides.
Now, I've never done that before, but I understand the way that works is that the actual VR experience is synchronized to the roller coaster path. So that they have beacons so that when you pass by certain turns or hills, it keeps it in sync with the experience so that it's all syncs up and it's, feels more natural. I mean, you don't want to hit a turn without seeing it in VR coming first.
And in those cases, it transforms what would typically be a roller coaster experience of you riding a car with then you riding on a dragon or Superman rescuing you or whatever they want to program, because like you said, they know exactly how long that's ride is going to be. They know where every turn is, and they can script out a sequence that can be interesting visually for, in addition to the thrill that you get from that. So here you have the thrill of indoor skydiving.
But we were concerned that there's no tracking. Obviously, we know the Gear VR well enough to know that at least innately, there's no way to actually know where that is, where the position is in space. And so would there be some discomfort as we were floating around in this chamber and maybe hitting the wall with our hands, not being able to see it in the real world? Turned out, nope, no discomfort.
Yeah.
When you're skydiving, it's just, to the horizon is open air. Now they did, I think, very smartly have you skydive in virtual reality with other people.
Right. There are other things to look at. There's 4 different environments. This is real video. They filmed a skydiver wore what I would assume to be a stereoscopic camera rig and filmed it in 360. And there's the environment. There's, I believe, some mountains. There's Dubai. There's Southern California. And a 4th one.
Swiss Alps.
Yes. And in the environment, there are other skydivers that give you a point of reference. Because in the distance, everything kind of looks flat.
Right, and I was disappointed by the fact that it was a video to begin with, and I don't think it was stereoscopic.
Oh,
this felt very flat to me. It felt like a 360 2D video that is just like everything that we've seen on Facebook or YouTube.
Yeah.
With you put on a headset and you can look around in every direction, but it certainly doesn't feel like you're there. I would have much preferred a rendered 3D environment, even if it's low poly, something in Unity, something where I'm actually falling down and they would have been able to fill a little bit of the field of view. I don't know if it was because of the helmet or some sort of facial interface they were using with the goggles, but it also felt like a pretty limited field of view to me.
The goggles felt like they were pushed out a little bit further
Maybe
away
that's what it was.
from your eyes because it was integrated in this helmet, the
Yeah.
helmet being an essential part of the safety of doing that kind of indoor skydiving experience. I think the big revelation was that 3 degrees is totally fine for that. Not being positionally tracked,
right,
especially as a novice doing an indoor skydiving experience, I'm not doing somersaults. I'm not lifting myself up 20 feet into the air and then diving down as many experienced skydivers, real and indoor, can do in this type of thing.
And to be clear, there's actually somebody in there holding you the entire time
right.
while you're doing the VR experience. So you're not even permitted to move around a whole lot. it would be interesting to see what you could do with if you were set free, and we saw some of the more experienced divers doing somersaults or flipping onto their back. That would be interesting to try in VR. I'd be curious to see if what they've shot would even support that.
If it was just flat video, 360 video, I think it would.
Yeah.
But stereoscopic only works straight on. Vertically, it does not work very well, especially if you're spinning around or turning your head.
When we went there, I was thinking, what are they going to do? Are they going to have us fly, like jump into a volcano or a chamber or a black hole and have things rushing past us to really take advantage of the virtual reality experience? But it really is, you've jumped out of a plane or you've jumped off a cliff.
Helicopter.
And you are falling down in midair. And of course, the video then fades back to the camera before you hit the ground. I guess you do pull the chute. And then it cuts back to the camera so that you can actually see the door and help yourself get out.
Which is one of the reasons I think they use the Gear VR system, is that they can have mirroring on a computer, on a monitor, so that the instructor, the person holding you, can see where you are in that minute-long flight. And then when that's all done, you do have the camera pass through so you can safely grab the walls and the door and exit. Now, we had that immediate contrast of without the goggles and with the goggles. And as novice skydivers, even indoor skydivers.
Couldn't be more novice.
Couldn't be more novice. You'll see in the video, our arms are flailing, we're just like banging against the walls, the guy's holding us, and I think we did okay, and it was fun. That part is thrilling. Like, never having done indoor skydiving, I'd totally go back to do just that.
Yeah, I didn't feel like there was any reason to add on virtual reality to something that is already so thrilling.
Well, I felt like adding VR made me feel more awesome. Because I didn't see my arms, I didn't see my legs.
Yeah.
The video's locked in.
Right.
The person, whoever filmed it, is an amazing skydiver, right? And so I feel the wind,
right?
And I'm being stabilized because the instructor is holding me. So it's just like if you were at home watching a 3D video or 360 video of skydiving and you had a massive fan blowing under you to give that environmental feedback. And it felt immersive.
You are awesome, Norm. I'm glad you feel that way. The nice thing about having, before we put the helmet on, was we could actually get the signals from the coaches. So they're giving us signals like lift your head up. They do like a hang loose symbol to chill out and relax. They tell you to straighten your legs. You can't get that in VR. Maybe it would be interesting, like if this really becomes a thing, I wonder if they'll start to add icons so they can still communicate with you while you're in VR and tell you those same kind of cues.
I still feel like it's an experimental phase right now, right? It's like a novelty add-on. You pay an additional $20 to get the VR experience if you've bought like a 3 or 4 flight package. But in the future, I would love to see rendered environments. I think they shouldn't sell themselves short on the benefits of render. Yes, it doesn't look photoreal because it's not video.
Right.
But you can do so much more with near-field objects, with things flying around you. Just because the world looks cartoonish or polygonish doesn't mean it can't be immersive.
Now, we learned that immediately with VR.
I think companies like this should embrace that.
What about putting on a wingsuit and actually having to do a little bit of rolling to guide yourself through targets?
Totally. A little more movement can go a long way, especially if you're going to have an instructor there guiding you the entire time.
Why can't I be Superman?
Yeah, exactly. Right? Or at least in this case, Lois Lane with Superman guiding you as you're flying in Superman the movie. So that was the iFly experience. Thank them for having us out there to try it out. I think indoor skydiving as a thing is super fun, and I'm glad that they're experimenting with using technologies like VR, and I hope they go further with rendered environments.
Well, we had planned to talk about budget cuts today, a game we've been looking forward to since, before we had VR headsets of our own.
Yeah.
But unfortunately, that game, while it was supposed to come out this week, they've delayed it indefinitely while they fix a few bugs. And we've played the press build, and we are glad they've delayed the game. So this is a very good thing. You should all be happy about this. They hope to have it finished within the next month or so, but we'll look forward to a full review of that once they release the final game.
But something we can talk about, and something we did play this past weekend, was an alpha build of one of our favorite experiences, Rec Room, and their new mode, Rec Room Royale.
It is Rec Royale. It is a 16-player battle royale game in the vein of Fortnite or PUBG, of course, the game type that is sweeping Steam and the nation and the world. And why not? Rec Room they update every 2 weeks, but it seems like a new game mode or a new fantastic feature and they've decided to go battle royale.
Yeah, when we chatted with them at GDC, we asked them what their next quest was going to be, and they said they didn't know, and that's probably because they were working on this mode. So big differences, well, similarities and differences between what we would consider as now a prototypical Royale game, right? It's free-for-all, you're on an island, you get dropped out of an airplane,
yes.
and it's every person for themselves till one person survives, and you loot for weapons, and then you hunt each other.
So normally in Rec Room, it's a teleportation-based game. But so what they decided to do with this mode is create two different game types, teleportation and free walking.
Yeah.
Turns out free walking is far more popular. So if you join the teleportation, you're gonna be waiting a while for people to join you. Free walk, it's almost instantaneous. You're in a match with 16 players within a few seconds.
Which is interesting because free walk is typically an experience that causes more discomfort. Like if you're gliding around laterally, and yes, they give you the option of some vignetting around your eyes, it can be nauseous.
It can be nauseating for sure, but the problem is with the teleportation, it almost breaks the combat, I felt. Because people are literally blinking and they're moving around the world, and you can't even tell where they're going to move to practically. Whereas the free movement at least allows you to circle strafe, do a traditional job in trying to track your target.
Now, we played with a bunch of our friends in full 16-player rooms, and it, I think, captured the excitement of one of those battle royale
Yeah,
games.
I mean, I really liked it. I'm not very good at PUBG or Fortnite. There's no building in this game, so that's a plus for me, because that just completely is over my head when it comes to Fortnite. And it's only 16 players, so the matches don't last that long. The world is probably big enough to handle a few more players if they wanted to experiment with scaling that, but 16 players felt like a good minimum to me.
And then the weapons also are all incorporated from their past quests.
Yeah.
From things like Jumbotron, things from the Pirate Quest, and are different damage levels or different colors, so you can immediately know whether you got a rare item or a common item. And then there's also a health mechanic now where you can get health and also
And shields.
Yeah.
And it's a lot of fun. There's no grouping up officially, like there's no way to team up. However, it looked like there's going to be that option on the scoreboard when you enter. That would be a good thing. Officially right now, everyone is, every man for himself, and people are unofficially teaming up. And, it was an alpha weekend, so whatever happens, happens. Some people complained about the teaming up. We happen to have enjoyed it, but hopefully that will be an official feature moving forward.
I mean, the thing that I'd hoped for a Battle Royale for VR was the physicality of crawling through an island, hiding in a bush,
Right.
peeking around corners, being scared, running across empty fields. And there's some of that. It's limited, of course, because your head is tracked and you just have your hands, especially in the teleport mode. But in those last moments when the world is closing in and it's the last three people and one person's hiding in the amphitheater, one person's hiding on top of that tree, it gets pretty intense.
It does get intense, and there's a lot of strategy in choosing where you jump, when you jump out of what is the gondola that goes across the play field. It always takes a random trajectory, and of course, if you're not familiar with these games, as Norm said, the world starts to constrict. The fiction in this game is there's a bee swarm, and they're constricting in, and it eventually becomes a very small area, forcing the players who are remaining into a small confines together.
Just judging by the feedback over this alpha playtest weekend, tons of people were in there. I think that Rec Room developers will continue to improve this game mode, and like you said, there's room for growth. I'm hoping for 32 players, 64 maybe in the future, maybe more limited based on just bandwidth considerations for VR. But I hope this comes out soon, and I'd love to jump back in.
It's not as serious as PUBG. It's not as serious as Fortnite. I don't think you're going to see this on the top of Twitch anytime soon. But it is a fun mode, an alternative to every other mode that they've added. So props to Rec Room for just keeping it up and adding more and more fun to what is a great free VR package.
And that does it for this week. Right now, this week going on also is Augmented World Expo, so we'll be heading to that convention over the next couple of days, and hopefully checking out some new headsets from that show, and we'll be reporting on them next week. Until then, thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time.
Bye.